grew up in church my whole life, and just to be honest, sometimes church wasn't really talking to my stuff. Church was talking about, getting a house or, prosperity or money and, being healed from these sicknesses and stuff. And I was like, I don't really have any of those issues. I have some place to live. I don't really want to drive, so I don't even have a license. As old as I am, I don't really want one. I like Uber, I like cabs and stuff. And I wasn't sick. My issue was my heart. I had been in abusive relationships. Eventually I got married and I got divorced, and then I was a single mother, and then I was trying to figure out the dating world again. It was all these things that I was going through that I felt like, well, church is talking about all this other stuff, and I'm giving my offer and everything else, but they're not speaking to my stuff. In fact, they're condemning my stuff. They're making me feel like that God can't heal me from my stuff, or like God can't fix it, or like he's not going to be gracious in my stuff. So how can he forgive this person, but he can't forgive? Is he not powerful enough to forgive me? And so I wanted to make music to where people could go to when they felt like the walls and the politics of the walls was not speaking to them. When I say walls, I mean church walls, was not speaking to their stuff, but they understood that there was a God. There was God who would speak to their stuff, not the four walls. They may miss it sometimes, but they're human too. But go to God. So my music to him, not to a building, not to the walls, not to the politics, not to the fancy sayings of what we say in church, but to God. It's leading them to the kingdom, to something bigger, greater, again, than all of the somethings that we find here on earth. And so, like I said, I thought about it when I was writing between Diary of a Church Girl and this, thing, was how did God say it to me? How was I able to receive it from him? But two, I was thinking about, this is long before the pandemic was happening, because I've been writing these projects probably for about 2 years, just the synopsis of it. And I was thinking about like when something happens and you have a condition, but you don't know what it is yet, and you're scared to go to the doctor, but you look on Google and you're like, okay, runny nose, sore throat, headache, what could that be? And you see all these options of what it could be, and you try to pair your symptoms to them so that you know what to do with those symptoms. Okay, that's what that person did. Okay, let me try that, or let me try that. Ultimately, it sometimes calms your nerves about going to the doctor, because you say, oh, it's not as serious as I thought it was. I can go over there. And I realized that there's so many people I was connecting to was like, well, I'll come to church when I could get myself together. Or I can't go to God right now, because it's like, no, God is a physician. He don't want you to become him whole. He needs you broken so that he can make you whole. And so I wanted from my music, like I said, to speak on that, not to encourage people to stay there, but to let people know that we all are there and we're all seeking the same thing. And that just because I already believe, it does not make me any better than you. It just means that my source is greater than your resources. I get, sometimes a lot of flack, for my music not sounding gospel enough. And I go into the Bible and try to see where Jesus described what gospel music was supposed to sound like. I'm looking like, okay, was it supposed to be this or was it supposed to be that? The music was created based off of genres of music and what a person's idea was at the time. This genres, but that's because of that. And God doesn't always talk to me the same way he speaks to you. So I express my music in the way I heard it. Like I said, all of my music is a journey, and all of it is a story for me. So even with something, I felt like that the music needed to sound exactly like what it was talking about, these temptations that we fight through every day. So the music needed to be a little bit more gritty and edgier and gut punching, because it wasn't this gentle place. It was this very rough patch of time that I was going through in life. So, I had to let that go a long time ago with trying to fit within, it wasn't enough room for who I was or who I am, and what people need me to be for them to feel okay. I can't make you feel okay. You either got to get with it or you just not my, you ain't my crowd. And that's okay, because I'm going to say what he told me to say. Because everybody kind of harps on the relationship facilitation thing, but I'm actually certified in ecology and cognitive behavior as a life coach. In addition to being a relationship facilitator, I'm also back in school, like I said, for neuro-linguistic programming. So those are big deals too, and I want to make sure I put some light on those as well. I don't just give relationship advice, but I am certified and educated in other areas as well. The relationship facilitation, along with the other things, is just more so really trying to get people to realize that they have more to themselves than what they think. We limit ourselves, to our past, to the things other people said to us and put on us. But we don't realize that we have a choice to die to that person and become something new. So the relationship facilitation is not just for romantic relationships and couples, but it's one for you to help build a relationship with yourself and the self that you want to be, but also to move forward and forgive some of the people who you feel let you down in the past so that you can move on in life. It doesn't mean you have to accept the behaviors that they gave you, but you learn to understand them and understand the reasons behind them. But I also cook. I'm a model. I'm an actress, a mommy, and I got a few things in the works that I'm trying to start, in my more creative field. Artsy field. But I also just recently started a new talk show called Girls Talk. It's on YouTube. You can find that also in my link tree. We just did our first episode last Wednesday. We have another episode coming next Wednesday. But it's not churchy, it's really you as women that we are too afraid to say sometimes, and the things that men want to know about us, but they're just too afraid to ask, So don't worry, I'm not going to be, overly churchy. It won't be to Jesus, but just like I said, just as women and sisters and sisterhood and, the things that we go through and the struggles that we face as women in the world. Yeah.